everyone, welcome to another episode of Grapholistic Podcast. You are now listening to episode 8 of season 1. This episode is the continuation from the last episode, which I will be sharing with you on how to improve your comprehension skills, which contributes a big part of the process when you are trying to build a strong foundation in your communication skills. Let us look at the comprehension skills first, which covers a wide area in building an effective foundation. There are several ways to build your comprehension skills. Firstly, what you can do is you can start to build your skills through training to read, and most importantly, understanding the message from what you are reading, both what the authors are trying to convey and also analyzing your understanding of that message. Second step is that when you listen to someone speak, you can also train yourself to fully listen without interrupting or inserting your own stories. So analyze the message and understand their perspective and emotions, which are also part of building your comprehension skills. So these methods will then link to your conversational skills, which means that if you need to explain what you had read and understood from an article to someone, you need to also look into explaining it with clarity, and then you will have the confidence to speak about your ideas or to share what you understand from what you read. Take the main points and then tell your story. And when you are listening to someone speak, extracting the information that you listen and then sharing the details to someone else, which means that information are not to be either extra or being left out. Also, take note the importance of the use of your tone of voice, because tone of voice made a lot of difference. The wrong tone of voice could make that story become a rumor or gossip instead of genuinely you're sharing information to another person, which then eventually can lead to relationship miscommunication and conflicts. One way to start sharpening your comprehension skills is by reading, because it is in fact a proven technique that I can guarantee you it will work out well to start building your communication foundation, and for this case to improve specifically on your comprehension. And then later we will talk about your writing and conversational skills. I knew this method since years ago, but no one told me why reading needs to be in the highest tier of our go-to habits until I found out the reason myself and its usefulness over the years. So I started to step into the world of reading books constantly when I was 12, but I did that for the purpose of getting better grades for my exams. Only when I was 15 that I started this habit of reading because I love and enjoy doing it. It became like my go-to habit that changes the things I do during my free time during the period. I will try to do my schoolwork as quickly as possible just so I had the time to read my novels and books that I borrowed from the school library or the public library. So this habit not only improved my comprehension, conversational and writing skills, but also on my vision and perspective towards life and the way I imagine my life to be. When you read, you will look at another individual's perspectives, that is the author, and the other world that you never could have imagined in your own day-to-day life. Instance, from a page in a book, I can know what it was like behind the scenes of a presidential election and how the candidate feels on that day waiting for the results, what was in his mind, and how he perceived the overwhelming support. From also a page in a book, I can feel free to feel and understand why the poet decided to leave her lover instead of staying with her. From a page in a book, I can learn how to use my subconscious mind to find something as simple as finding my house key, which I had misplaced. So these are simple examples from only reading a page in the books I had read. Can you imagine how your mind can wander to the infinite perspectives of others? How reading actually help in day-to-day life, including other communication skills like your conversational skills. So whenever I have presentations the next day, I will make sure that I will read at least 10 pages of a book, whatever book I was reading at that time. Whenever I have a meeting, then I need to be the main person to communicate the agenda, plans, and ideas, or even do presentation, I will do the same. Whenever I am recording a podcast episode like this, I will definitely read a book the night before, even though I had written scripts that I could read out. I realized that the flow of my voice and speech will be much better, clearer, and more confident when I read a book the day before. So I had tried several times when I forgot to read both intentionally and not intentionally, which I've forgotten. My podcast episode will sound so cramped, like as if I am so scared to speak out loud. Same goes when I had presentations. Okay, whenever I will be going out with friends also the next day, I will do the same, read a book. The difference was very significant when I didn't, so I don't have the ideas to chat about. I will stutter because my thoughts, feelings, and expressing my ideas will be all jumbled up. This is not about sharing the topic of what I was reading the day before. It is about the fluency aspect between the thinking process and communicating what is in my mind easily. If I do not read, I will end up with verbal blockage. And most of the time, you will see me just keeping quiet and just nodding to the conversation instead of contributing to my own ideas. Alright, then how about improving your conversational skills? What can you do to improve on that aspect of your communication skills? If you are aware that your conversational skills are not as good as your friends who might be speaking more fluent than you do, maybe because it's their first language. So first, you have to realize it and you have to acknowledge it. Remember the steps I had shared with you in episode 7, the previous episode? Please acknowledge it first and then start implementing your improvements strategies. So what you can do is, apart from reading to improve your conversational skills, you can also start trying to watch interviews, which are available for free on YouTube. You can also watch movies and listen to the actors speak without subtitles. And then what you can do is that you do it again with subtitles. So most of the time I will watch with the English subtitles because of the accent. I can say for my own journey, I learn more usually from watching interviews than movies. Also, when you listen to music, start first listening without reading the lyrics to sharpen your listening and comprehension. And then read through the lyrics. See whether you had listened to the lyrics correctly in the first place, because sometimes it is quite challenging to understand what the artists are singing. And if like my favorite artist like Taylor Swift release her albums, I will sit for at least 2 hours, depending on the number of tracks, which could be like 18 tracks in one album. That might take me at least like 3 hours to listen to the music twice. So first, what I did was I will usually listen without reading the lyrics, then continue listening like the second time with lyrics on my screen. What I did was like I had also like learned to analyze lyrics on the way while reading it, since I started to listen to her songs 10 years ago. This process actually had sharpened my analytical and investigative skills. So you sort of like you are killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Apart from listening to music, listen to public speakers speak in seminars. It does not matter on videos. You can use these methods for any languages that you need to improve on, because I used to do this too when I was studying for my German language. It is the same process and normally it will work out very well. It will take time because you need to train yourself and practice, but definitely it will work. The process when I kept watching talk shows interviews, what I did for when I was watching talk shows interviews was more like copying or replicating the way a person speaks. So there is no need to follow them exactly. It is like you are trying to imagine yourself speak in that way. So the first time I found out about this technique was actually by chance. I started to watch talk shows like Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, Letterman, Conan for the past 13 years. So I will watch the interviews in 2 ways, meaning from the talk show host's perspective and also when the celebrity guests speak. I focus more on their fluency, the way they express themselves, how to be comfortable when someone asks you a question or when you speak to someone, or how to play with humor in communication. These are like the techniques that I will observe. There are many interviews out there to be used as a tool to sharpen your conversational and comprehension skills, so you can try that too. the entire step that I did eventually make a lot of difference to the way I speak to people over the years. I am not talking about being friendly to say hi to strangers or neighbors. I'm looking at the fluency and articulation and the energy of confidence when speaking to people. And then another point when you are speaking is the courage to speak out ideas and thoughts. So from my experience, I had like a significant difference compared to before. So I used to hold myself back whenever I wanted to present for my own businesses or anything like new ideas or my opinions. So I had no confidence because I felt like I lacked something when I communicate with others. But nowadays, for nearly like 15 years now, basically I do not have any worries anymore. If I made a mistake on my grammar, which I will do most of the time in both my business and personal conversations, I will focus more on what I wanted to say instead, because if I were to focus on correcting my grammar in my sentence, I will end up disrupting the flow of the speech, which then made me forget what I intend to say. It's the same as writing. You have to first prioritize on the contents for your first 2 drafts, and then edit the grammar, vocabulary, or, formation of sentences later. So how can simply by reading help you in developing other areas of your communication skills? So reading can also help you to write your ideas into words. If you are currently writing an essay or thesis for school or script for your videos, podcasts, or even presentation, and suddenly you don't have any ideas or the words in your mind are stuck, go get something to read. While writing this script a few months ago, I was reading a book by Thomas Erickson, Surrounded by Idiots and Surrounded by Psychopaths. Okay, so these books I kept in my home, so I will read it at night. And a book by President Barack Obama, The Promised Land, which I kept in my office. So for 2 days, I had writer's block while writing a script for my first fiction. I couldn't continue writing for whatever reasons. Maybe because I was exhausted or I can say my mind was giving excuses to delay my writing process. Then, when I spent about like an hour reading a chapter of The Promised Land, about 30 pages or maybe more, because the book is quite addictive the way President Barack Obama was writing, so I ended up reading more than I planned to. Automatically, I was able to continue writing my script fluently. Same like when I was writing this podcast script. After the first draft, which is like the skeleton from the surface of my thoughts, I could then write it much more detailed than before. Everything like flows very well, especially after I read something. Anyway, if you are interested in fiction, the one recently I had completed over a month of writing and editing the scenes, it is called Between Love and Reputation, which is now available on YouTube. That is considered my first fiction writing. If you guys have time, check it out. Anyway, I will share with you more on how to enhance your writing skills in the next episode. So at the meantime, before I end this episode, this is an excerpt from the latest book which I had published, Be Brave, Uncensored Motivational Quotes, which is now available on Amazon and any online bookstores. Throughout the journey of attaining your purpose in life, be observant. Open your mind and emotions to learn how your body works and harness this knowledge. Observe how you make your decisions throughout your life. And remember to analyze the patterns of how your mind and feelings works in situations. Have a great week and see you in the next episode.